From the moment we're born, we begin absorbing the world around us. We learn what's acceptable, what's expected of us, and most importantly, how to fit into a system that shapes us without our awareness. But in that process, something crucial is lost. Our connection to our true selves, the essence that resides deep within our psyche. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, dedicated his life to exploring this mystery, teaching us that if we truly love ourselves, we cannot accept less than what we genuinely deserve. How many times have you found yourself in a situation that, on the surface, seems normal, yet deep down, you feel drained? Maybe you're in a relationship where you give more than you receive, at a job that fails to fulfill you, or is surrounded by people who, instead of lifting you up, only seem to dim your light. Why do we allow this? Jung would tell us that the answer lies in the shadow, the hidden part of ourselves that we prefer not to see. Today, we're going to dive deep into this concept and unlock the secrets to living a life of authentic self-love. If this topic speaks to you, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and in the comments, tell me what comes to your mind as you listen. Let's begin this journey together. From an early age, we're taught to suppress emotions and conform to molds that don't always represent who we truly are. We become what we think others want to see. But everything we repress doesn't disappear. It hides within our shadow and manifests in unexpected ways, in poor choices, toxic relationships, and repetitive patterns that trap us without us even realizing why. Jung believed that what we refuse to confront within ourselves, we will encounter externally, disguised as fate. This is why, even though we say we want love, success, or happiness, we often find ourselves stuck in situations that push us further away from those desires. Deep down, a part of us still doesn't believe we deserve them. But true transformation occurs when we dare to look inward, when we stop searching for answers outside ourselves and begin to understand our inner world. At its core, Jung taught that our unconscious mind is not our enemy. It's a messenger. Everything we experience in the external world is a reflection of what's happening within us. If we continue accepting less than we deserve, it's because inside there's still a part that doubts, that fears, that hasn't yet realized its true worth. Now, imagine for a moment that you wake up one day and discover that everything you have been searching for externally has always been within you, that you don't need validation from others, that you have nothing to prove, that you are already enough. But it's not enough to just imagine it. You must experience it. And that experience begins with a decision, the decision to know yourself, to face your shadow, to stop accepting less. When you choose to love yourself, everything changes, not magically, but because your actions start coming from a different place. You stop settling for superficial connections because now you know you deserve depth. You stop tolerating unfulfilling jobs because you understand that your purpose is greater. You stop justifying mistreatment because you've discovered your own worth. But this process is not easy. Jung warned that individuation, the journey toward the true self, is a path that requires courage. Not everyone is willing to walk it because it means letting go of who we thought we were and daring to discover who we really are. It means leaving behind old beliefs, facing fears, and questioning everything we've been taught. Many prefer to Stay within the familiar, even if it means suffering, because the unknown is frightening. But the real question is, how much longer are you willing to keep accepting less? How many more times will you justify what deep down you know is not right for you? Life isn't waiting for someone to give you permission to live it as you deserve. There's no perfect moment, no divine sign that will tell you the exact time to change. The only sign you need is already within you. It's that discomfort you feel, that sense that something doesn't quite fit, that longing for something more. Do not ignore it. It is your unconscious speaking to you, guiding you toward your true path. When you decide to listen to yourself, when you dare to let go of what no longer resonates with you, something incredible happens. Things start falling into place. The right people arrive and opportunities appear. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. Because you finally understood that if you love yourself, you cannot accept less. And this is only the beginning. When you start to recognize your own worth, the dynamics of your life shift. You are no longer operating from a place of need, but from a place of choice. Jung taught us that many of the relationships and circumstances we attract are mirrors of what remains unhealed within us. If you have spent your life accepting less than you deserve, it is because deep down there is still a part of you that believes that is the most you can hope for. But that belief is not real. It is just a story you have learned, a program that has been installed in your mind through past experiences, inherited beliefs, or the fear of loneliness. The unconscious mind is powerful. It acts like a magnet, drawing situations that reinforce the beliefs we hold within us. If you believe you are not enough, you will attract people who make you feel inadequate. If you believe love is painful, you will unconsciously seek relationships that confirm that belief. This is why so many people remain trapped in patterns that seem never-ending. They change partners, jobs, even cities, but the same problems continue to surface because the true root of the issue is not outside, it is within. What you do not heal, what you do not confront, what you do not integrate into your psyche will continue manifesting in different forms until you finally understand it. The awakening to this truth is not always easy. There will be moments when you'll feel tempted to go back to what is familiar, because uncertainty can be terrifying. Your mind will try to convince you that better the devil you know than the angel. You don't, but that is the biggest illusion of all. The comfort zone is not a safe place. It's a space of stagnation disguised as stability, and the longer you stay there, the more you delay the life you were truly meant to live. Carl Jung spoke about Dao integration as one of the fundamental keys to living a full and authentic life. The shadow consists of all those aspects of yourself that you have repressed, denied, or hidden because at some point you were led to believe they were unacceptable. Many times, accepting less than you truly deserve is a manifestation of that shadow. It is allowing limiting beliefs to dictate your life instead of confronting and transforming them. This is where the real work begins. The key is not in trying to change others or forcing someone to recognize your worth. The key lies in doing the internal work, questioning your beliefs, honestly observing your patterns, and asking yourself where your fears come from. When you engage in this self-exploration, something shifts within you, and when you change internally, everything around you begins to change as well. Your relationships start to look different. You stop chasing emotionally unavailable people because you no longer seek external validation. The places where you once felt compelled to fit in begin to feel foreign because your sense of self no longer depends on external acceptance. You learn to move with greater confidence, to make decisions rooted in self-love rather than fear. And here is where something fascinating happens. Jung spoke about synchronicity, the phenomenon in which meaningful events begin to align almost magically when we are in harmony with our true selves. When you begin to honor and respect yourself, the universe responds. Opportunities arise, connections shift, and new paths open, not because they weren't there before, but because you are now able to recognize and receive them. The problem is that many people expect to see external proof before they commit to their inner transformation. They wait for the world to validate them before they dare to trust in their own worth. But the truth is, the change starts with you. You must believe in yourself first. You must choose yourself first. And then the world reflects that transformation from the inside out. This process is neither instant nor linear. There will be days when you feel like you're making progress, and others when you doubt everything. But every time you face that doubt, remember this: self-love is not a destination. It's a practice. It's something you choose every single day. When you decide to live from this perspective, your life transforms not because external circumstances immediately change, but because the way you interact with them does. As you embrace true self-love, you begin to notice something interesting. The people and situations you once tolerated now feel unbearable. What you used to excuse, you now see clearly. What you once justified, you now recognize for what it truly is. This is the point where many people face a crucial test. When you realize you've been accepting less than you deserve, you are left with a decision. Do you continue on the same path out of fear of change, or do you take a chance on yourself, even if it means letting go of what no longer resonates with you? Letting go is not always easy. Carl Jung once said that the human psyche clings to what is familiar because change represents the unknown, and the unknown awakens our deepest fears. But here's a truth that few will tell you. Nothing truly valuable can come into your life while you continue to hold on to what no longer belongs to you. Take a moment to look around, observe the relationships Jung taught us that individuation, the process of becoming your truest self, requires passing through moments of solitude, uncertainty, and doubt. Because as you shed what you are not, you will pass through an empty space before discovering what truly belongs to you. And many people are unwilling to go through that emptiness. They would rather hold on to what is familiar, even if it is causing them harm. But the void is not your enemy. It is a sacred space where the new can enter. It's the bridge between the life you have been living and the life you truly desire. It's the opportunity to rebuild from the ground up, free from the limitations of the past. When you finally choose to let go, something incredible happens. Your energy shifts, your mind clears, and suddenly you begin to attract situations that once seemed impossible. Not because they were impossible before, but because you were too occupied holding on to what was never truly yours. The universe responds to those who have the courage to align with their truth. But to reach that point, you must ask yourself a crucial question. What part of me is afraid to let go? Because behind every attachment, there is a story, a deep-seated belief that convinces you to hold on to what you should have released long ago. Maybe you believe that if you let go of that relationship, you'll never find something better. Maybe you think that if you leave that job, no other opportunity will come your way. Maybe you feel that if you distance yourself from certain people, you will end up alone. But here's the truth. You cannot lose what is truly meant for you. What is yours by right of consciousness will never leave, and what leaves was never really yours to begin with. They were lessons, chapters of your story that had to end so that new ones could begin. Life is not about clinging, it is about flowing. And in order to flow, you must trust that when one door closes, a better one will open. But that door will only reveal itself when you have the courage to release what no longer resonates with you. Look within, observe the areas of your life where you have been settling for less than you deserve, and ask yourself, if I truly loved myself, what would I be willing to let go of today? When you begin to release what no longer aligns with you, something inside you shifts irreversibly. This is not just a superficial decision. It is a profound transformation in how you relate to yourself and the world. And not everyone will welcome this change. There will be people who try to make you doubt yourself, who will tell you that you're overreacting, that you're being selfish, or that you should simply settle for what you have, not because they want to harm you, but because your growth challenges their own comfort. Carl Jung taught us that when someone begins to awaken, they often become a threat to those who are not yet ready to do so. At this point, many people retreat. They feel the pressure of their environment, the fear of being alone, the uncertainty of not knowing what comes next. But this is where you must remember something fundamental. The path to your authenticity is not designed to be understood by everyone. You cannot expect others to see what you see, nor can you expect them to validate your journey. It is yours and yours alone. More often than not, the greatest obstacle is not fear of the future, but the resistance to letting go of the past. We cling to relationships that no longer nurture us because it's difficult to accept that some connections have an expiration date. We hold on to jobs that no longer fulfill us because fear of the unknown paralyzes us. We remain attached to identities that no longer represent us because we have built our entire lives around them. But the truth is, none of these things define who you are. Jung reminded us that true identity is not found on the surface, but deep within the unconscious. And only when you have the courage to go there, to look at your shadow without fear, you discover who you truly are. When you start living from that authenticity, the world reacts not because you've changed externally, but because your energy has changed. You no longer vibrate at the frequency of lack, fear, or the need for approval. And when that happens, the doors that once seemed closed begin to open. Not because you are forcing them to, but because for the first time in your life you are in harmony with yourself. That is where real magic happens, where synchronicities appear, where opportunities arise effortlessly, and where the right people enter your life without you having to chase them. Because abundance is not something you pursue. It is something you attract when you are aligned with your truth. But to get there, A price must be paid, not in the sense of sacrifice, but in the sense of letting go of everything you are not. Letting go of the limiting beliefs, the relationships that no longer nourish you, the fears that hold you back. And this is a price many are unwilling to pay because it requires a brutal level of honesty with oneself. You must look in the mirror and ask yourself uncomfortable questions. Ask yourself why you are still in a place you know is not meant for you. Ask yourself what part of you has been sabotaging your own growth. Ask yourself what stories you've been telling yourself that have made you settle for less than what you truly deserve. There are no shortcuts in this process, no magic formulas or instant solutions. There is only one undeniable truth. If you truly love yourself, you cannot keep living in a state of complacency. You cannot continue betraying the part of you that has not yet realized its own worth. But that can change right now in this very moment, because awakening does not happen at some distant point in the future. It happens the moment you decide to see the truth and act accordingly. You do not have to wait for something external to confirm that it is time to change. You do not need someone else's validation. The only sign you need is already inside you. It is that feeling of discomfort, that longing for something more, that quiet certainty that you were created for something much greater. True self-love is not a superficial idea of self-esteem. It is the radical decision to align with who you really are, without compromise, without excuses, without fear. It is the most powerful act of freedom there is. And when you make that decision, life has no choice but to respond in kind. When you start aligning with your true self, you realize that self-love is not just a pretty concept. It's a force that transforms everything around you. It is not a fleeting emotion or an affirmation you repeat in the mirror. It's an internal revolution that changes the way you think, speak, and act. And in that process, the first thing that happens is that you begin to see clearly. The situations you once justified as not that bad now become unbearable. The treatment you used to tolerate without question now seems unacceptable. It's as if, for the first time in your life, you are seeing reality without filters. And that can be uncomfortable because it means recognizing how many times you have settled for less than what you truly deserve. But you cannot change what you do not see, and once you see it, you can never ignore it again. Carl Jung once said that the process of individuation is like waking up from a deep sleep. At first, the light is blinding, uncomfortable, even painful. But once your eyes adjust, you never want to return to the darkness. However, this is precisely where many people get stuck. They see the truth, but they don't know what to do with it. They realize they've been trapped in patterns that limit them, relationships that drain them, and jobs that dull their spirit. And yet, the fear of the unknown paralyzes them, because even though the old no longer serves them, at least it's familiar. Here arises the great test. Do you keep moving forward, stepping into the unknown, or do you cling to what you already know? Self-love is not just recognizing your worth. It's acting in alignment with it. Every time you settle for less, you're telling the universe that this is what you believe you deserve, and the universe always responds at the frequency you emit. If you continue surrounding yourself with people who don't value you, if you remain stuck in situations that drain your energy, it's because deep down, something in your unconscious still believes this is normal. But what is normal is not always what is right. Jung taught that the unconscious has a very clear way of showing us what needs healing. It manifests through repeating patterns, situations that seem to cycle endlessly, and relationships that always end the same way, not because life is against you, but because your psyche is trying to teach you something. Every time you face a recurring situation, it is an invitation to look inward. What are you tolerating that you shouldn't? Where are you silencing your true self? In what areas of your life are you still accepting less than what you truly desire? The external world is merely a reflection of your internal world. You cannot expect respect from others if you do not respect yourself first. You cannot expect to be valued if you haven't learned to value yourself. You cannot expect real love if you continue settling for crumbs. But when you make the decision to truly love yourself, not just in words but in actions, everything starts to shift. You begin setting boundaries without guilt. You learn to say no without fearing the loss of someone's approval. You realize that solitude is not a punishment, but a sacred space where you can reconnect with yourself. And then something incredible happens. The universe responds, because when you change your energy, everything that is not aligned with your new vibration begins to fade away. It might feel painful at first, but it is necessary. Self-love is not just about attracting good things. It is also about having the courage to release what is not meant for you. And it is in that act of letting go that your true transformation begins. When you decide to let go of what no longer resonates with you, when you stop settling for less than you deserve, something inside you changes irreversibly. You are no longer the same person. You can no longer accept unfair treatment. You can no longer ignore your intuition. You can no longer dim your own light just to fit in. But this is where many people face their greatest challenge: uncertainty. Because letting go means leaving an empty space. It means trusting that something better will come, even when you cannot yet see it. And that requires a level of faith and trust in yourself that very few are willing to develop. Jung taught us that the unconscious does not work with logic, but with symbolism and synchronicity. And when you take the leap, when you finally choose yourself, when you finally decide to act in alignment with your true worth, life responds in ways you never imagined. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to appear, and people who truly resonate with you start showing up. What once felt like a struggle transforms into a natural flow. But it's not magic. It's alignment. It's the manifestation of a new reality based on a new perception of yourself. Because the external world will always reflect what is happening inside of you. So if you still find it hard to let go, ask yourself this: how would my life change if I had absolute certainty that I am enough? What decisions would I make if I were no longer afraid of being alone? What would I do differently if I knew without a doubt that the universe always supports me? Self-love is not a destination. It's a journey. It is a daily commitment to yourself, the decision to never again settle for less than what you know you deserve. And it is a process in which you are not alone. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to become part of this community. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below and tell me what part touched your heart. Subscribe if you haven't already, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming videos. Together, we can create a space where knowledge and reflection become tools for transformation. Every time you engage with this content, you help it reach more people who need this message. Remember, change starts with you, and today you have the opportunity to take that first step. I'll see you in the next video.